the ultimate tank build, in collaboration with Aquamatic.
Chapter 1. Can your aquarium stand do this?
Hello, this is Glenn Patterson with Aquarium Wood Products Inc. We're out here today. We want to show you how strong our cabinetry is. And we put a cabinet up, it's 12 feet up on top of this forklift on this pallet, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull it off and let it fall to the ground and just show you just how strong our cabinetry is to how well it stays together. So let me zoom in on the, there's the cabinet. This is a 24-inch by 12-inch cabinet, 30 inches tall, I'm sorry, 32 inches tall, and it's made out of birch plywood, and it weighs approximately 50 pounds. So what we're going to do, we're dropping at 12 feet. So let me zoom back out and okay, we're going to drop this thing. Here we go. Okay, go ahead and pull it. Okay, as you can see, it stayed together. It's a little scuffed up on the corners, but as far as the durability of it, the cabinet's still together. Nothing's broke on it. It's got a little scuff mark right here. Here's the other side. The back of it. Now we did have one little mishap, that the little piece of trim on the bottom come off. Just must have been the way it hit. It just knocked the trim off, but as you can see, what it did was it actually pulled the wood apart. But with that force, 50 to 60 pounds dropping from 12 feet, there's a pretty good force there. It's not too bad just to have a little piece of trim knocked off, and otherwise the whole cabinet stayed in place. This is one of the reasons why we put screws in on the backs, and it's also glued along this seam here, and that's one of the reasons our cabinets stay together. Thomas, here's your cabinet in production. We've already got it cut out, put together. We're waiting on doors and bottom trim. Just give you an idea, some of the process of it. Has the crown molding. Again, it had the fluted. This is the grand crown, but it also has a solid top for your tank. Does not have an inset for the tank to sit in. Here's a back view of the crown molding, just to give you an idea of the pattern that we use. This is the back of the cabinet. You can see the inset for the tank to sit in. And then the 4 braces on the top, you notice they're pocket holes from inside. And then they have screws on the back side. And these are movable, just in case we miss the overflow and we hit in a spot there's overflow. The customer can move these very easily by removing these 2 screws and those 2 screws, and this whole brace will come out and come out of the way, and they can either move it from one side to the other. This is showing you the double wall thickness. That's 1.5 inches thickness. So your tank is sitting on top of this horizontal brace, and all of the weight is suspended onto this brace here that goes all the way down and brings it all the way down to the floor. And as you can see on the inside of the cabinet, we use pocket holes to screw the fronts to the sides. The front itself is also a double wall. It's 1.5 inches thick, again for more support.
My new stand.
Let's see. How do you want to do it?
Oh, well, you're actually. Leave it right here.
Okay, Thomas, this is our what we call our Grand Crown series. It has the crown molding on the top under the lip, and typically we would have a trim around the top that hides the trim of the tank, but being you have the type of tank that you have that's rimless, you prefer to have the flat top, so we put a solid top on it. But you got your crown molding, raised panel doors, fluted trim on the corners, and it's a very decorative, nice cabinet. And all of our cabinets that have double doors, we always put the false brace in the middle so that you have a wide opening for servicing your equipment underneath. All of the 36, 48, 72-inch cabinets have this wide opening in them. And then once we get into a larger custom cabinet, 10-footers, 12-footers, we work the door situation to where you have this, because it's very important to be able to get into your filtration system and service all of your equipment. We use a stainless steel self-closing European style hinge. One of the things that we do that I don't think many people that build these cabinets are doing, we spray our doors on the cabinet. And what that does is it gives us the ability, when we're actually staining the cabinet, to give a clean finished look. The doors, the cabinet, everything is equal in color. And then once we put all of our stain in, we come back and we do our clear coat lacquer, and we always put 3 coats of lacquer on them, but we lacquer over the top of the hinge so that it eliminates a lot of the rust. And even though it's stainless, the harshness of some of these saltwater tanks, it affects the stainless, and we put that clear coat over to help give it some protection. And we put a center brace in the back. We have a lap joint. Everything is glued, screwed. The back is screwed into the cabinet. We don't just nail them and put a little bit of glue on them. These cabinets come with, they're tough built. They have screws in them. We've tried to tear them apart before, and they're very difficult to tear apart. We build them to last, and we build them to stand up, and that's what they have to do.
You like to support the local fish stores.
Exactly.
So you guys, if you guys are in the Atlanta area, you can see his work at Pure Reef. I filmed that store lots of times, and you can order his stands from there. You mostly do wood, but you're going to get into metal stands.
Well, once we just purchased a building in a few months back, and once we get moved into the building, we want to add another building to it to do strictly all of our metal work, so we can get into the metal stands.
5,000 square feet.
Yes, 5,000 square feet. We're going to have a lot of room, which we're in 4,000 right now, but there's a lot of office space, so we lose a lot of workable shop area. And once we get to 5,000 square foot, then we can expand, and we can really be a lot more creative. We can get into a lot of other products,
Aquarium Wood Products was nice enough to give us a tour of their current facility.
We have 2 saws set up to be more efficient. We can cut cross grain on this saw, and then we rip it this way. The chop saw over here to cut all of our smaller hardwood lumber for doors and small stuff. We basically start our process here. We bring our wood in, we do all of our ripping, cross cutting. Anything needs to be cut to length, we do on our chop saw. Once those cuts are made, if parts are finished from that point, they go around and go to the sanding table, be sanded, to be put in place to be put together. This is some of the machinery that we do all of our molding and process our doors through and sanding. We use edge banding on all of the bottom of our canopies so you don't have exposed plywood edges. This is some of our assembly tables. As you can see, we assemble our doors. This is all the doors for the cabinets for the Grand Crowns. We like to put a heavy weight on top once we stack them and let them sit overnight and let the glue completely dry so we have a good solid door. We use extra glue in the joints of the door. Again, some of our assembly tables. Do all of our parts assemblies here. Some minor sanding. Back around, our process basically goes in a circle. It starts at the beginning and goes through all the machinery, comes around to all the sanding table and then to the parts tables to be assembled. Once we assemble all of our parts, we come around and this is our cabinet assembly table. Cabinets are assembled on this table, and once they're completed for assembly, they're lightly sanded, touched up, ready to go to the spray facility, and we will stage them over the table next door to it. Once they come off of this cabinet, or this table, they go to this table, they're staged. Doors will actually be placed on them. We spray everything with the doors on. And from that point, they go to our spray area. Cabinets are sprayed, and once they're finished with the staining or painting, whichever we're doing, they'll go on the drying rack and these set of rollers, and they're rolled, and we'll fill this line up. And this line of rollers will actually hold approximately, depending on size, 15 to 20 cabinets, and that's a good day process. And once they are on this table, they're dried, they're finished with a clear coat of production lacquer. Once the cabinets are completed and they're dried out, they sit overnight. And then the next day we bring them off and we package them and prepare them for shipping. Okay, this is a 72 by 24 Grand Crown canopy. As you can see, it's upside down. It looks like it's all in pieces, but it's not. It's actually the way that we spray our canopies. This type of canopy, it has the fronts and the doors and everything are attached, except this one does not. We chose to spray this one without the doors, but we do it like this so that we can get every little area of it sprayed, so that we don't have anything affected by the water or moisture in our canopy. This canopy will, once it's sprayed, it will sit until it's dried, and then once it's completely dried enough that we'll turn it right side up and spray the top of it, and then it goes onto a set of rollers on the roller rack, and that's where it's cured out, sprayed with lacquer, and then ready for shipping. One of the things that we like to do with our black, we don't just put a black paint on it, we use a black lacquer, and once it's dried we go over the black lacquer with a clear lacquer, and we put 2 more coats of clear lacquer on top of it, so this canopy will actually have 4 coats of finish on it. I'll get back there where you can see it. There we go. Again, it will end up with 4 coats of finish. Plus, this is our 72 by 24 Grand Crown series. This is just a little display of how the cabinet's put together. As you can see, it's unfinished without the doors. If you look at it from the front, you can notice we put a single door on the left, and then the center door and the right door closes together. That gives it a 38-inch opening on all of our 72-inch cabinets, and really is sufficient for any of your filtration systems to fit in there. And if you can see in the back bracing, we put double bracing on the verticals just for extra support for the weight of the tank. These are big tanks, heavy tanks, and we really like to support these things the proper way. This is a crown molding. Has a flat, what we call a shelf on the top with a crown molding underneath, and all the way around on the top, 3 sides. And then you have the vertical fluted trim. Goes down each corner, and then we put our own trim that we manufacture ourselves on the bottom. And then we put these little 1/4-inch strips on the front that keeps it from sliding backwards, so that way your canopy is secure on top of your tank. Cannot slide off unless it's lifted up. We have heavy-duty non-mortise hinges on the top. Here's the back of the canopy. If you notice, on a 72-inch canopy we put a center brace that helps it also sit on top of the tank. You see the little bracket there that it sits on the tank. And there's the bracket in the corner, and that one also that helps secure it onto the tank so it cannot slide off. 48 by 18 Grand Crown, has double doors, and as you can see, both double doors, when they're open, will have 32 inches of space between the 2 braces to give you ample room to put your filter in, Thomas.
So now, if someone doesn't have a pet store in the area that you service, what would they do then?
Well, they contact us and we will determine how close they are to the pet store.
Okay.
And if they're within, say, about 60 miles, we would prefer that they go to the store that we service.
Okay.
And we don't want to take anything from our stores because we support them wholeheartedly, and they're the lifebone of us, you know. But
if they're further from the store,
if they're further, then we will decide that, and then from that point we'll.
And where do they contact you at? Your website?
AquariumWoodProducts.com, and or by phone 850-584-3340.
tank build in collaboration with Aquamatic.